Hey, howdy y'all. My name's David. I'm with the outfit known as Country Boy Computers. Welcome to the show. The star of our show today are real smoking guns. Let me introduce you. This here's Lucille. She's a real banger. This here's Ella Jean. She's a firecracker herself, and today we're gonna put on an LLM show for you. So stick around if you ain't yella.
Ooh, doggy. Hope y'all don't mind me horsing around a little with you. Life's too short not to have any fun, huh? So anyway, back to today's video. We are highlighting the MI50s once again. It was about a month ago when I dropped the first video, and to my surprise, it has exploded. We're up to 50,000 views. I can't say thank you enough for all the comments and the sense of community and all the tips, but a lot of people have pointed me into the direction of the MoE models, the lighter end stuff that doesn't weigh down your GPU so much, performs a little bit better in a home AI setting. And since that's the whole purpose of this project, if you haven't been following along, check out my other videos. I've not been around too long. There's only about 15 or 20 of them on there. But we are exploring hardware that's cheap and effective in running local AI at home, large language models. I've been using Ollama. I've learned that there's a better solution for you. Today we're going to dive into it. We're going to build llama.cpp. We're going to run gpt-oss 20b. We're going to run qwen3 30b A3b. And we're going to run gpt-oss 120b on our two little cards that were 210 bucks each. Now I know the prices don't reflect that today, a month later. The word is out. If you find a good deal on those, pick them up. After today's video, you'll understand why. Appreciate your time. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the show.
All right, I used to use Tinkercad in the olden days. I learned a little bit of Fusion with my boys Lars Christensen on YouTube. If you haven't watched any of Lars's videos, you should. It's a real treat. Fusion's fantastic, and there's a free edition for hobbyists, which is what I use. So, hey, I did just want to show you all what I'm printing on. This is the Kitty X Max. It's the first version. Stock, this comes with two different hot ends that you switch out. One is for normal printing, and it has a fan on the side. And then the second is a high temp hot end. It doesn't have a fan on it, but it has a hardened nozzle. So in its stock form, you've got to constantly switch the head or the carriage back and forth. But somebody created, this is the Icarus 2 hot end upgrade. So you can put a little pancake motor on it, driver motor. Much better setup, it's a lot lighter weight. This is actually printed in polycarbonate, and I put a 500 Celsius hot end in there with my replacement. I can't remember exactly which hot end I got. I think it's just a V6. But what's great about this hot end is you've got about 5 or 6 different choices in what hot end and heat break and fans and all kinds of stuff. The driver board, of course, mounts on the side, but the internals are modular, so you can just decide what you want. And of course, it's got a hardened nozzle, so I don't have to switch it out anymore. It's been a great printer. I just printed this in carbon fiber PLA. Works great. So this was a recent purchase. I got this to upgrade what you just saw, the X Max. This is the FlashForge Creator 3. I only got this because it has a true dual independent extrusion system. So it's got two print heads that can move independent of one another. But it has a fatal flaw from what I've seen so far. It's got one on each side where you can mount your filament, and then the filament path goes here, enters a Bowden tube, goes up, gets pinched, turns one way, turns the other, and it has no headroom. And what ends up happening is it breaks your filament, and literally the Bowden tube pops out of your carriage, your print head. So this is a terrible setup. I've thought about drilling holes to make the path a little less back and forth. I mean, literally it just weaves in and out. What I had set up here earlier is I had my filaments actually hanging from the top. This is my garage, of course. It's nasty, I'm sorry. But we've got some shelving up here. Project for another day. Just wanted to show y'all. It's quite disappointing the way it was set up, but it's got potential. We'll get into that another time.
The main challenge in getting this fan bracket was to get around the two 8-pin power ports. There's quite an excessive amount of room on the top where the clip goes, so there's going to be a massive air leak there, and I did want to integrate the fan bracket, so I just pinned it on the top, and it helps hold my 3D printed part down. Overall, really pleased with the result.
All right, now that we got our fan brackets printed and the fans mounted, and we got that volume at a reasonable level, let's see what our girls can do. You all hear that? Yeah, me neither. The fans, they're set to silent, no longer full speed like the last time I was running these bad boys a month ago or so on that video. And if you happen to notice, we're also back to the AM5 instead of the X99 board. I ain't kidding y'all, I worked on that puppy for 3 straight days. When I put the Xeon in, first thing I noticed that was hairy is it only saw 2 of my 4 sticks of RAM. Now I go into the BIOS and I go over to the RAM's info, and I can see all 4 channels on there, but 2 of them don't say Kingston across them. So I rolled back the BIOS to 3201 from 4001. I played with the timings, I did the voltages, I did the frequencies. I said no XMP, it wasn't working. I may have bent one of the CPU pins, I don't know, it'd be going great, and then all of a sudden I'd get blue screen, blue screen, blue screen. I went back to the i7, I put the CPU socket under the scope. It was so frustrating that I'm serious, I almost took this thing out back and took the old Super Mag to it. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I gave up on the X99. We're back to the AM5. I'm sure it'll do great. Y'all enjoy.
All right, what you're looking at is a fresh install of Ubuntu. And I've gone to Ollama's website, and if you scroll down to install on Linux, you can get to the manual installation page, which is what you're looking at on the left, and I install a specific version. I noticed that 0.12.3 actually has, in its automatic ROCm installation, it will automatically install the tensor files for GFX 906, which is the architecture of the Vega 20 cards, the Radeon 7 and the MI50s. So I just wanted to show you all that you don't have to do any in-depth install except for this part, Ollama, and it will install the ROCm drivers necessary to run Ollama. But you have to run it as sudo, as root, as an admin to get permission to do that. But it's super simple to set up. If that's all you wanted to do is run Ollama on one of these old cards, you're not familiar with Linux, these a couple screens here are showing you that is possible without going any further, installing the ROCm or installing the AMD GPU.
All right, before I get too far ahead of myself, 3 quick things. In the description, you'll see a link to this project as a whole as we're going along. Obviously, that's a work in progress. I haven't updated it with all of this week's findings. 2, I've started a Discord for us all to communicate and share tips from the pros. That's down there as well. And 3, if you're interested in the STL files for the fan bracket, I'll be posting those to Thingiverse as well. If it's not in there immediately, I'll update that as soon as I get that taken care of. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right, the first step into getting llama.cpp set up is to go to AMD and install the appropriate latest ROCm version, which I'm on Ubuntu 24, so that's 7.1.7 as of this video. And this process is super easy. You just click and paste. Now that does take a long time, so be patient with it. After the ROCm is installed, do the same thing for the AMD GPU. Click copy, paste. But don't reboot like it says. We're going to do another step first. I'm just showing you here the message. I've already disabled secure boot before I installed Ubuntu, so I wasn't required to do a password there. And here we're going to the Arch Linux website to download the ROCm 6.4.4, which as AMD releases newer and newer ROCm versions, the older tensor core files, which are housed in ROCbloss library, are slowly deleted. So the newest ROCm doesn't include all the graphics 906 tensor files. And this version that I'm showing you here does have. And so all you got to do is download, extract the zip file, find the 906 files in your zip file and copy them over to your system ROCm, which I'm showing you here, and then reboot. So in terminal, run the git clone, clone into the llama.cpp website and cd into that directory. And then here's the command to start building. All right, we're running our first benchmark on GPT-oss 20b. The parameters that we're running are shown on the bottom of the screen. You'll notice I amended my benchmark so that it only goes to 512 tokens, so it's a much shorter benchmark process. Easier for recording. We get the data still. I'm not believing what I'm seeing. I'm not believing what I'm seeing. Oh my, oh my. 124 tokens a second. All right, here we go. We're gonna make a few runs where we adjust the power cap on the card, because in ROCm info, or ROCm SMI, it defaults to 225. Now I think this card's rated for 300 watts, but we don't want that. We, just like mining, we're gonna drop the voltage down. I'm gonna try a couple different variables here. I don't get into adjusting frequencies of the core or the VRAM, but that is possible. And with HBM2, you want to stay within about a 10% threshold on the VRAM especially. I've been told that you can get up to 2 gigahertz on the clock, which its normal max is about 1700 megahertz. All right, you can see here we've dropped the power cap to 200 watts and we only lost 1 token per second compared to our previous run. Literally 1 token per second, right on the money. So I'm gonna drop it a second time to a power cap of 180 and we'll see where that leads us. You can see here that we are starting to lose a little bit of tokens, but still we're at 120. It's hardly going to be noticeable in a prompt interface. So now we're running
qwen330b A3b, and I've still got both GPUs in there, but I'm only going to run it on one side, and we'll see what that does. And then I'm going to split the model across both cards, and we'll compare what that does running on a single card. And again, it's been split by 8 lanes, 8 by 8, with 2 cards installed. And then I'll show you a video of just a single card installed running it on that to see if we get any difference between 8 lanes and 16. All right, qwen330b has resulted in about 83 tokens a second running on a single card, even with both set up. Let's run it spread across both GPUs using split row and tensor split commands. And you can see the result. We took a little bit of a hit down to about 61 tokens a second on the dual card split up. All right, as I mentioned, I've shut her down, taken the second card out. I've got a single GPU in there, and we're going to run the qwen330 across just a single GPU. This time it's running at X16 PCI lanes, and we'll see if that makes any difference. And when run in a dual card setup, it got 83 tokens, and with a single card, 84. All right, here's the one everybody's been waiting on, the big one, the GPT-oss 120b. We're gonna run it this first time with tensor split command run, and we'll see what happens. And again, with this setup, being that we're so crunched for VRAM, we've got the 5 first layers of the experts loaded into system RAM, keeping everything else on the GPUs. All right, we're finishing up the tensor split 120b arrangement, and it looks like it's getting about 45 tokens a second. All right, on this run, we're doing the same model, the 120b, same parameters, except we're not doing the tensor split. All right, as she's finishing up, if you remember before with tensor split, it was 46-ish tokens a second, and without, it's 54 tokens a second. All right, in the last video, lots of folks were just requesting interact with the model. Just let me see what it actually looks like when you load the model and you ask it a question. I want to see the prompt response time on the screen. So that's what I've done here. I've left it with no tensor split and just loaded. I didn't do the server command, llama server, I did llama CLI. So that loads the model in interactive prompt. And I've copied and pasted the same exact question that my benchmark runs. And you can see it's just immediate. As soon as I hit enter, there's like a less than a second delay before it starts to respond. And it's going faster than you can even read. So This is a very usable setup for a 120B model. Just amazing. Outstanding.
Whoa, what do y'all think? You think the MI50s would work for you for a home server? Oh yeah, and they get a country boy thumbs up. So what I didn't get to in this video is doing some image generation and see if we're capable of doing some video generation. I'm going to do that in the next video. We're looking up how to get PyTorch installed, and then we'll do stable diffusion and do some image generation with these bad boys. And then I'm also leading up to kind of a collection of all we've learned about LLMs so far, and we'll just sum it up in one quick video on kind of like a shopper's guide to setting up your LLM at home and what you need to look for with hardware. So I've got some new discoveries on that front as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Remember, there's some links in the description for the new Discord and for this project in general, and for the 3D print files if you want those brackets. Granted, your fan may not be the size of this fan because I got the wrong size fan. But anyhow, you guys have a wonderful day. We'll catch you next time.